Hey everybody, let's talk about Godzilla. This is the 1954 Godzilla, and as you can see here, he's in black and white. This is a NECA figure, has excellent articulation, all kinds of tail movement, and his hips and his feet. But this is where it all started, right? 1954. And 40 years later, we even have a space Godzilla. Some of Godzilla's DNA ended up out in space, and it got merged with some crystals, and he came back looking to take over the Earth and be king of the monsters. But of course, our good old Godzilla stopped him cold. And so Godzilla's gone through a lot of changes. And in fact, in 1978, we have these Shogun Warriors, and these are the metal Shogun Warriors you may have seen recently in a show that I've done. And I had a 1978 Godzilla that was rubber, but this is actually the Shogun Godzilla that looks like the one that came out back then. Now, this one does have a bit of some differences between this and the 1978 one. The Shogun Warriors were 2 feet tall, and the Godzilla was almost 2 feet tall. He was a little bit smaller, and he had a fist that would shoot off. This does not have a fist that shoots off, but it does have the same hand turns, whereas the other one doesn't turn. And on the big Godzilla, it was probably about 20 inches tall, there was a lever in the back, and it would make like fire shoot out. And so this one is spring-loaded, and it really looks just like him, just smaller, and he's very cute. And so Godzilla's gone through some changes, and Godzilla ended up having to put up with all kinds of enemies. You know, there was the 1974 Mechagodzilla, and then, we have Godzilla from the newer movies, right? The last 3 movies. And I did a custom paint job on this. I put painted some blue and sparkle paint on it and made it shiny. And this is, the Godzilla from, this is one of the 2014 Godzilla toys. And here's how this one works. Now I have a bunch more, but this is not about that. So, he opens up and he fires his beam. All right, so, Godzilla's had to put up with a lot. I mean, he had to fight those giant insect-like creatures, and then, not long after that, he had to fight a Mechagodzilla that is very different than the 1974 Mechagodzilla, much faster and really just very difficult to deal with. It's got the, little clampy hands, and then they made a big one, a larger version of this, right? And this one actually has hands that can squeeze. So, we had to put up with Mechagodzilla. Well, what's a Godzilla to do? And, in the past, in the 1990s, around 94, Godzilla had to put up with, all those enemies, and the Earthlings were working with Godzilla, and so they gave him a bunch of weapons that he can put on. So he would, don this mechanized suit. He's got some armor. It's got, some rockets that he can fire off, and they can communicate with him. I think actually they were controlling him through that. And then, looks like he can shoot some kind of flames out of his hands. So this is a great advantage to Godzilla, but all of this would come right off, and then you would just have your basic Godzilla. Well, here's what they've done now. So this you can get in stores now, and I wasn't going to buy this because, well, I thought it was ridiculous. But it was only $12, and I was like, well, let's give it a shot. So I've got to admit, I was wrong. As kind of dumb as this is, it's also cool. So here he is as Godzilla. He can open and close his mouth. He can move his arms up and down. He can twist his tail, and his legs move. but that's just the beginning. So he also has all kinds of weapons at his disposal that he may or may not choose to use. So he's got these quad missiles that he can flip out and shoot. He's got little ankle missiles. So, maybe he can put his leg up and blah, blah, blam. Shoot that. Well, if he feels like it, he can also have a knife blade. So, because a lot of those enemies that he takes on are very sharp and pointy. But let's say that's still not enough. Well, he can also have a panel here that unfolds, and he can have more rockets or blades, I'm not sure exactly what they are, that come out of his shoulders. And he also has a blade on his tail if he wants. And then that flips out, and now he has a tail blade. All right, so he can use that. Well, all the same things happen on the other side. So he can flip all that out, flip all that, and then he's got his knife here. But maybe that's still just not enough, right? So, oh, and you know what? Here's a new one. I didn't even see this. Look at that. He's got forearm blades. Oh, man, I missed this. So, he only has it on the one side. Okay, well, I'll take that. All right, so he has that on the one side, and then he can do that. But, all right, well, let's say Godzilla gets really, really mad. All right, so he starts to flip this around, and that looks mighty scary. He's getting angry, but he's not done getting angry. So then this opens, and it's a bit difficult to pull open. It does feel like you're going to break it. And then he can have these spines come out. And then on his chest, take a look at how all this opens up. And then that can flip around and snap in there. And then you can put this back together. Put that in there. All right. So now he is very spiny. He has chest armor, and it looks like, why not have that be a repulsor weapon as well, right? Why not? And he can still bite. And he can have these spines. They can all connect together, right? They can do that. They have little pegs, and they'll peg in. But maybe you don't like it pegged in, right? Maybe you'd like it like this. You just pull these apart. And then he can have it like that. And then there he is. So Godzilla is mechanized and ready to battle anything. I don't even think Mecha Godzilla or even King Kong would want to mess with him. Well, they did come out with a King Kong that has similar features. I've not gotten that. I don't know that I will, but then again, if it's cheap enough, I might try. And like I said, I gotta admit, it might be a little bit goofy that Godzilla can come apart and have all kinds of rockets and missiles and knives come out of him, but it does look cool. And he does have to take on all these other dudes that keep getting more powerful. So it's at least as cool as this, isn't it? And maybe just that much cooler. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.